And veteran Matt Van Epps came out on top in Tennessee's special election last night, defeating Democratic State Assemblywoman Afton Bain. Gathering with supporters, Van Epps thanks President Trump for his endorsement and promised to back his agenda.
President Trump was all in with us, and it made the difference. In Congress, I'll be all in with him.
Mark Bednar is former communications director for Speaker Kevin McCarthy and had this takeaway.
There's a couple of takeaways from last night's race going into 2026. So President Trump is the most dynamic political leader we've seen in our lifetime. And as such, he built a coalition and expanded the Republican Party in ways that no one even ever thought possible. So it's going to be incumbent upon every candidate, every member of Congress, every senator that's a Republican to go out and engage those voters and work to keep that coalition together, because it's not going to happen by itself. Secondarily, Democratic candidates in this instance was uniquely bad. It's not going to be the case in every House race or Senate race that the Democrat is going to admit that they hate the city that they're running in.
After an Afghan national shot two West Virginia National Guardsmen last week, President Donald Trump ordered U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Edlow to commence a full-scale, rigorous re-examination of green card holders from countries of concern. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the vetting process.
You can vet what people have done in the past. You can't bet what people might do in the future. There's another dynamic at play here, and that is you could allow someone into our country who has no history of radicalization. Perhaps they even have worked with you in the past, but they are susceptible to radicalization once they enter the United States because they don't assimilate well, because they fall victim to some of this online propaganda and efforts to radicalize people. And 2 or 3 years later, you find that they have radicalized. That is a threat. That is a real threat.
The Trump administration doubling down in support of those strikes on drug boats out of Venezuela.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people.
War Secretary Pete Hegseth and President Trump not backing down in their approach to narco-terrorism.
I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks.
The House Homeland Security Committee holding a hearing today on what's being called the war on badges, examining the uptick in anti-police rhetoric in this country. Jonathan Thompson will be testifying on behalf of the National Sheriff's Association.
What we're finding is that we have so many leaders in our country who are using words like Nazi, Gestapo, the enemy. That is the type of rhetoric that is tantamount to saying fire in a crowded theater, in my mind, and it's got to stop.
A university student in Oklahoma says the teaching assistant gave her a 0 on an assignment because he finds her views on biblical values offensive.
A University of Oklahoma student named Samantha Fulnecki said on Fox that she received a 0 out of 25 on an essay assignment.
I was asked to read an article and give my opinion on the article, and the article was about gender binary and mental health and gender stereotypes, specifically in children, because it's a lifespan development class.
She said she gave her opinion and reacted to the paper as she was asked.
Naturally, my views are from the Bible and my Christian kind of worldview, and so that's what I wrote about, and I didn't think anything of it.
She said that a week later, she received the grade from the teaching assistant named Mel Kurth.
He left submission comments saying that my work was offensive, that I need more empathy in my writing. Things like, if I'm going to argue against the consensus of every medical field and every medical association in the United States, then I need empirical evidence to back that. But there's no empirical evidence or any evidence required anywhere in the instructions or in our syllabus.
Fulnecki said she thinks she was being punished for what she believes.
I think I would just say that God loves him and that I am saddened that they're offended by the truth of the gospel and the truth that I wrote about in my assignment. And it saddens me to see that that offends them and upsets them the way it did.
I'm Bronson Woodruff.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video When Your Faith is Illegal by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues here on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Today is Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2025. And I'm Tim Wildmon with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley Wildmon.
Good morning.
And Fred Jackson.
Good morning to you.
We all four be in studio today. You judging me on my English?
No.
You smirked when I said we be.
I smirked. Just call me Mr. Smirk.
It did come off as one word, though, because you're from Mississippi. 4B is all I heard.
4B.
We all be in studio.
Yeah. We all be in studio. Well, I don't like the judgment I'm feeling right now.
One syllable.
I wanted to go with whatever I wanted to say there.
Absolutely.
So Wednesday, December the 3rd, I'm saying that we all four are in studio today. Ray Pritchard, who's sometimes with us, is in other parts of the country.
He's not in other parts of the country. He's in Florida.
I know.
Enjoying the warm weather.
He's in one part of the country.
Yeah.
While his real home back in Kansas City is
snowed over.
Freezing. All right. So, but Brother Ray will be with us tomorrow. He's with us usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And again, we thank you for listening. Wesley, if folks want to join us on what Ed calls that their internet, how can they do that?
I would encourage people, and yes, Dad, I would encourage people to go to afr.net. That's where you can listen 24/7, regardless of how close you are to one of our tower sites. You can listen to afr.net. There you can also download our podcast. You can listen live. We have actually two networks on afr.net. We have our music network, and then we have what you're listening to now, our talk network. So go to afr.net. You can also go to Facebook, Today's Issues Live on Facebook. You can go to our YouTube. I believe YouTube. We're not banned there. Nope. Go to YouTube. Go to Today's Issues Live on YouTube. But again, I know we have those platforms and we use them because they're available, but going to our own streaming, stream.afa.net is our own streaming platform. So stream.afa.net.
And the app.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The app, as you say, was a game changer.
Yeah.
So whatever kind of phone you use, you have an app store of some sort. Download the AFR app. You can listen anywhere. There's a good signal.
Yeah, we won't get into which phones are better, right?
Right.
I know people have their preferences. You got Androids, you got Apples, but everybody's got an app store.
Yes, there's some way to access an app for your phone, unless you've got a dumb phone.
That's right.
If you've got a dumb phone, there's nothing you can do to change that.
Can't change that.
But for you who have a smartphone,
all right,
get
your dumb phone.
Remember, that's all. It used to be. That's all there was.
Yeah, dumb phones.
Yeah, even when we had mobile phones.
Remember the first mobile phones? I don't know if Wesley does.
I do.
Do you?
Well, they weren't before that. They were in the car. They were car phones.
Yeah, car phones, the big car phones, down there. And you'd
like Magnum PI, he had one.
Yeah, I remember.
Tom Selleck.
I remember driving for the first time with one of those in there, and I just called people just for fun.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to say, hey, can you believe we're doing this?
Yeah.
We're talking
$5 a minute.
I'm driving
or
around
whatever.
Atlanta,
That's right,
talking to you on the phone. I got a phone in my car.
You know what I used to do in this? I've embarrassed my wife so many different ways over the years. We've been married 44 years. But when Tom Selleck, the actor, played a Magnum PI, his fast, sporty car, he had a car phone.
Yeah.
And so I would take one of the kids, you remember the little play phone that you'd get for little kids. And I'd bring it with us on a trip. It was plastic, and I would put it in between our seats, and I would every once in a while raise that phone
like Magnum PI,
like Magnum PI, and pretend I was talking. My wife she was constantly embarrassed by things I would do.
Yeah, your wife said, "What have I done?"
And we'd be driving in a Subaru hatchback. Yeah, you got a car phone, dude. Sure.
Yeah, but we had car phones, and then they went to the cell phones, but they were really small black and white screen, or black
Little
and
flip
gray.
phones too.
Oh yeah, flip phones.
Flip
too,
phones.
that's
And then there were the shoe phones.
right. Yep, shoe phones.
Remember those?
Yep.
Weighed a ton.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, try to put
Missed
that
it
on your
by
belt.
that
Look,
much.
Yeah,
Those kind of shoe phones.
I remember.
All right, Fred, what's our first news story here we got?
Well, Republicans in Tennessee and in parts of Washington, D.C. are celebrating a little bit
Are
today.
they celebrating?
They're celebrating because there was a special election in the District 7 of Tennessee yesterday for a House seat, and the Republican Matt Von Epps won that race. It became a national story because of the Democrat who was running there, Afton Ben, quite a character. Of course, Tennessee, Nashville, the home of country music. Some old audio of her came back to haunt her a little bit. She said she hated country music, didn't like Nashville at all. But she overcame that by saying, I'm in this race, really, because of affordability. That is the new buzzword for the Democratic Party. But Republican Matt Van Epps did come out on top last night. Here's a little bit of what he had to say in his victory speech. Cut number 1.
Tonight, you've sent a message loud and clear. The people of Middle Tennessee stand with President Donald J. Trump and stood firmly behind our campaign. As we look forward, I say this to my friends in the liberal media and to the professional panickers in my own party. Tonight we showed running from Trump is how you lose. Running with Trump is how you win.
So there you have it. Yes, President Trump by phone did some campaigning for Van Epps. House Speaker Johnson was in Tennessee to help out. There was some concern given the polls during the campaign had the two candidates really close, despite the fact that President Trump in last year's election won it by 22-point margin. It was a safe seat for the Republicans.
Oh, it still is.
And it is.
The Van Epps, the winner last night, he won by 9 points.
9 points, yeah.
Now, you didn't win by 22.
Yes.
But when you got, I don't know if it's a little bit apples and oranges to me, because Trump was facing the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics, in Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Word salad.
Word salad Harris. I mean, and you got a red district. Sure, he's gonna blow her out of the water. This kind of situation right here, 9 points is still a big win. The party out of power, that is the party opposite the president, in this case a Republican, Donald Trump, usually gains seats in the midterms. Now, this is not the midterms yet. That's next year, but still. So this is not unusual historically for the party out of power to show up better in races and polls and so forth. But I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing to me for somebody to have predicted a 2-point win, whoever that was. I read that somewhere, and then the guy wins by 9. Again, it's not 22, but that's a safe margin of victory. You have any comments on this, Ed? Did you follow this?
I would say this. Everything you said is true about the off-year election, and that is going to lower the margin of victory somewhat, that it's not a presidential year. However, I would say
would
that
you caution, Ed?
I would caution.
Okay, I'm going to help you out there. You caution us, Ed.
I think affordability is a potentially winning argument on the part of the Democrats.
Okay.
Because here with Trump, basically all Democrats have had to run on is we're not Trump. We don't like Trump. We hate Trump. Come on out and vote for a Democrat. Okay, that's not much of a message. But affordability, unless there's a turnaround or a greater improvement in the economy, there are some good signs in the economy. But until people feel it kind of at the kitchen table, I think affordability is going to be a difficult argument to combat on the part of Republicans who, like Matt Van Epps, are going to want to stay loyal to Donald Trump because he's still pretty popular with the Republican base. So that's my only caution. Like you said, they're probably going to wind up losing seats anyway because it's a midterm. But you don't want to give that argument momentum if our economy does not improve before 2028.
Wesley?
So
you disagree with Brother Ed?
Well,
I still think you're a good person if you do.
Yeah,
I
okay.
agree with Brother Ed that from a strategy standpoint for the Democrats, that would be a really good language to use, but it would not hold up in a debate if two good candidates debated it, because the Democrats had 4 years and only made things worse.
That's true.
Economically for everybody. And so if evidence, that would hurt, but because of the current situation, from a strategist standpoint, using that language does draw people to want to listen to and or do anything different. And we're mostly talking about mushy middles or moderate people. We know those that are far left stay left. Most everybody that's on the right stays right. But if you're trying to persuade and get more votes out for your candidate and the left potentially upset or win an election, it's going to come. I think that would be as better than the other things they've been trying.
Right.
As far as politically strategizing, saying that men should be in women's sports is just not working.
Or that we should have the southern border wide open.
Because at least in this category, they leave it up for debate on how we're going to go about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
excellent.
And it would be socialism.
Point.
Yeah, appreciate that. So I do agree with you.
And I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the. If I can get a candidate, just say free stuff for Tim.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'm willing to listen to that. To that as an appeal to me as a voter.
Right.
Yeah.
Free stuff for Tim.
I'll
listen to you.
Thank you. That's my point.
Okay, yeah.
Or one of my points.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. So, Fred, good news for the Republicans in Tennessee yesterday. They have a very thin margin in the House, right? Like 4 or 5, 6
4 or
votes?
5, and that's why you're seeing a lot of Republican states redistricting and trying to pick up some more safe Republican seats in various states. But you guys were talking about this affordability issue.
Yeah.
Well, Trump has a plan. He had a cabinet meeting yesterday, his 9th cabinet meeting since he came into office in January. I think Biden had not anywhere close to that over 4 years. Anyway, Trump made some news yesterday by talking about affordability. He plans the American people to give American people a whole lot of money. Cut number 4.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people.
Trump's voice has changed.
Yeah.
Trump's voice has changed with age. Have y'all noticed this?
Yes, that was my mistake.
We're going to get there.
That was my mistake.
That's Pete Hegseth.
Let's go to cut number 9.
Trillions of dollars get paid to drug companies, and you still have lousy health care. Obamacare's horrible health care. We want it to go to the people, and then let the people go out and buy their own health care, and they'll do great.
Yeah, so he's talking about that. He's talking about people getting more of their tax dollars back. He's talking about tariff bonuses. We're making, according to the president, we're making trillions of dollars on tariffs, and we're going to give the American people some of that dough.
Well, that's just what I said. Free stuff for Tim. I'm listening to you. You give me a tariff.
So they're thinking, I think, about next year if people are getting a break in income tax
Yeah.
And he even hinted at there may be a day when we're not paying any income tax at all, that things will be so good that American people won't have to pay income tax.
What are you smoking?
I'm just quoting. I ain't smoking.
Okay.
I'm just quoting.
It sounds like we're discussing socialism, and we need to bring our expert. We need to bring our expert
We have
in.
a socialist. You want to introduce him?
Well, we are going to introduce Dr. Frank Turek. I don't think it's fair to say he's a socialist. He is probably as much of an expert on the subject of socialism as we typically have. He's host of I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. Maybe you should call it I Don't Have
Right here on AFR.
Enough Faith to Be a Socialist. Heard Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Time, and again Sundays at 4 p.m. Central Time right here on American Family Radio. Frank, welcome back.
I don't have enough faith to be an atheist or a socialist. Let me ask you a question, Ed. How many caravans are going from the United States to Venezuela?
That's exactly.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Or any other of the other
Or companies
socialist experiments.
How many people are getting on boats to risk their lives in shark-infested waters to go from Miami to Havana?
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, how you doing, Brother Frank?
I'm doing all right. You know, we got Christmas coming up. That's always a good time of year.
Amen.
But I think I have the cure for leftism.
Okay.
If people were rational about it.
All right.
And one is the statement we just talked about. Why are there no caravans going to Venezuela? But secondly, I just, a month or so ago got back from a trip to Jordan, Israel, and Egypt. And have I ever told you guys what the average monthly salary of an Egyptian worker is? What do you think it is?
In dollars?
Dollars.
Average monthly salary of an Egyptian worker in American dollars.
$600, $500.
Oh, I'm going to say monthly. I'll say $100.
I'll say.
Let's average it. It's $303.
Yeah.
A month.
Average
a month
for a worker in Egypt.
Average worker in Egypt, $303 per month, and the average worker in America makes almost that in a day.
Yeah, okay. But Frank, what's the average cost of falafel in Egypt?
Well, actually, our buying power is about 6 times that of the average Egyptian.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the key. That's the key metric, isn't it?
What's a new camel going to run you?
Yeah, I don't.
That's bad. I was thinking about that joke. That was a bad joke, but because not all Egyptians.
Let's get over the hump and move on to something else.
That was a boom. But your point being,
my point being is that if you want a cure for people who think this country is a bad country, go to some second and third world countries.
Gotcha.
That do not have the same free enterprise system that we have. I mean, I enjoyed my time in Egypt. There's so many great sights to see. But economically, it is a very poor country.
All right. Well, let me play devil's advocate here, okay? Not because I believe any of the garbage I'm about to say, okay? But this is what you're going to hear in America from college-educated students.
That's their first mistake.
With their IQ just continuing to soar, okay? This is what you are going to hear from a lot of young people. Yeah, Frank, you picked Egypt as the example. I want to pick Scandinavian countries where you get all kinds of free stuff and great health care. What would you say to people who say, that's the kind of socialist country? You guys always pick Venezuela and Cuba run by wackos. I want to point to these kinds of socialist countries. What would you say?
All right, how many people do you know who go to Sweden for an operation?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anybody.
You don't. Okay. Not only that, but Sweden is about the size of one of our states.
Right.
Okay. And they don't really have to spend a lot of money on a defense. Who does that for them?
The United States of America.
We do, okay? Also, Sweden does have a private economy, maybe not as robust as ours, but certainly more robust than Egypt. Okay, so there are so many differences. Also, they basically, until immigration, had a pretty homogeneous population. Now, immigration is causing them trouble as well. So, and fourthly, they're all living off the vapor of Christianity. They are originally a Christian country, and Christianity presupposes private property. Thou shalt not steal presupposes private property. Okay? Do not show favoritism to the rich or the poor presupposes private property. So the two are not analogous. It is still a free market society in Sweden, but they have some advantages we don't have here. They don't have to pay for their own defense. They're very small. And a country like Norway, by the way, has enormous oil resources.
Right.
They don't have to do much. They can just sell their oil and have these great socialist programs that everybody thinks here we can have, when in fact we're what, $36 trillion in debt?
Well,
I don't
and
think
none
President
of those
Trump ought to
countries
give any tariff money to anybody. He ought to go to pay down the national debt.
Yeah, I agree.
None of those countries, which we call Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, etc., Denmark, they don't even identify themselves as socialist countries. I don't remember the prime minister of one of those countries said, "We're not a socialist country. We're capitalist."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a lot of businesses. Some corporations run out of them that are worldwide in scope. They do tax a lot and have programs that is sometimes considered to be socialist, but they don't even identify as socialist countries. So when young people, let's just say college kids say, "Yeah, I want a socialist country like that," they don't identify as socialist. They're capitalist countries.
Here's another question to ask people. When was the last time you washed a rental car?
Oh, when was the last time you washed one?
Yeah. You never wash a rental car because it's not yours. You don't care.
Right.
Right? And when you don't have private property, you tend not to care about it as much. You're not as motivated to take care of something that isn't yours. This is why private housing is nearly always in better shape than public housing. If people have the capacity in a system to keep the fruits of their own labor, A, they're more incentivized to work harder, and B, if they have that private property, they'll take care of it more.
Yeah.
And you don't have that in a socialist society. I mean, socialism not only failed to produce freedom, it failed to produce food.
Right, that's right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how about William Bradford when he came over here with the Pilgrims? The first year they tried to do a socialist kind of economy where everybody's just going to chip in and take care of the farm together, and half of them starved. Then the next winter he said, okay, every family's going to get their own plot. And then they had more food than they knew what to do with because people were motivated. Socialism misunderstands human nature. It thinks that people are going to work as hard as they can and take as little as they need. In reality, people will work as little as they can and take as much as they can get. If you have the ability, though, to work hard and keep the fruits of your own labor, you're going to do that, and that's going to benefit everybody. Because if everybody does that, then you can exchange the goods that you create and you can prosper. The fastest way to get people out of poverty is with capitalism, not socialism. Socialism never works. It misunderstands human nature.
The Pilgrims tried socialism.
Right.
Yes, William Bradford.
Yep.
That's exactly
It didn't
right.
work. And next year he said, "We're nixing this."
We're gonna do what the Bible says. If a man doesn't work,
he
neither
doesn't
should
eat.
That's right.
Right. I think he was also noted for his comment, "Quit whining." I think it's
Quit whining and get to work.
William Bradford said, "Quit whining." Can you hang on through the break for another minute or two?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dr. Frank Turek joining us from the Tar Heel State, the great state of North Carolina. Fred Jackson, Tim Wildmon, Ed Tagliano, Wesley Wildmon. We'll all be back in just about 3 minutes or so.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
And as you wish that men would do to you, do so to them. The words of our Lord. Anthony Pino, age 9, came running into his home one afternoon, shouting to his mother that his 3 older brothers had fallen into a pond and needed help. It happened when one of the brothers, Reuben, jumped on a plank floating in the pond north of Walsenburg, Colorado, and paddled away from the shore. He lost balance and fell into the pond. Reuben, who was 12, called for help. 2 other brothers, Freddie, 13, and Richard, 10, both went into the pond to save Reuben. Since none of the boys could swim, Anthony ran home to get help. Mrs. Fred Pino picked up the phone to call for help. 2 people were talking on the party line. Miss Pino explained the situation to them and asked them to please hang up so that she could call for help for her boys. The other 2 people refused to hang up. They laughed and ridiculed Miss Pino. She begged them to please get off the line, that her boys were drowning. They refused to do so, continued to laugh and ridicule. Another lady in the home with Miss Pino took the receiver, spoke to the other 2 people, told them again what had happened, and asked them to please let Mrs. Pino make the phone call for help. She too was met with a similar answer. You know, reading such a story, one wonders how any 2 people could be so cruel and heartless. A mother, pleading for only the use of a phone for a few moments in order to call for help for her drowning sons, was laughed at, ridiculed, refused. The story isn't new. As much as we talk about the goodness of man, there remains always the evilness and sinfulness of man. Our Heavenly Father knows something about this type of sinfulness. While he was pleading and begging people to listen, they were intent on carrying his Son to the crucifixion site. While he attempted to be heard, they laughed and ridiculed him. Just common courtesy would have dictated that one should share a party line with one's neighbor. And certainly, knowing of one in Ms. Pino's situation, common courtesy would have said to be of all the help you can. But then not everyone cares about common courtesy. There's still selfishness and hatefulness and sinfulness in the world. For thousands of years, our Father's been trying to get us, all of us, to treat each other like our brothers. And for an equal number of years, we've been refusing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Stupid, silly, out of date, childish. Some people evidently think so. At least they don't think it applies to them. I wish those people could speak with Freddie or Reuben or Richard. Unfortunately, they cannot. They'll have to speak with Mrs. Pino. You see, Freddie, Reuben, and Richard are all dead. They drowned. Do unto others. Think about it the next time your brother is in need. And if you fail to act on it, for your own sake, ask for forgiveness.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Psalm 27:4.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, Saturday mornings right here on American Family Radio at 9 a.m. Central Time, we have Dr. Frank Turek's show, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And you want to tune in for that. All the shows on Saturday morning are excellent, but Frank's is quite educational and will help you in your...
Very popular.
Yes. So join Frank for I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist right here on this station, Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock Central Time.
And it reruns Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
On American Family Radio.
Right now, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network with Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. Our guest is the aforementioned Frank Turek joining us from North Carolina. You had, Fred, you had a question. We've been talking about socialism and why socialism is antithetical to biblical principles. That's what Frank says. And Frank, am I misinterpreting what you said there?
No, that's
Okay.
the case. It presupposes private property, the Bible does.
Okay. Now, go ahead, Fred. You wanted to ask?
I wanted to ask you, Frank, a little bit about Venezuela. And in particular, over the last couple of days, there's been some controversy in the media about an incident involves the shooting at one of these drug-running boats coming out of Venezuela. And the controversy has been apparently in an incident back several weeks ago, there were survivors from the first missile that hit the boat, and another missile was fired to take out those survivors. Now, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was asked about this yesterday during a full cabinet meeting at the White House, and this is what he had to say, cut number 3.
Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back.
I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks.
So the question seems to be, Frank, is this second missile taking out the survivors? Some people, some Republicans and Democrats are taking issue with that. What say you?
Yeah. Well, typically you don't fire on survivors. I don't know the details of the case, but if that is indeed the case, and they were survivors and they were helpless in the water, typically you don't fire on them, you rescue them and, take them prisoner, in a conflict. But I don't know all the details of the case. Was the boat still underway and they fired a second missile to take out the boat and it took out the survivors too? I don't know.
Yeah,
Fred?
The picture that we're left with, there's the survivors that were in the water. That's the picture we're left with.
That the boat was destroyed.
Yes.
Okay, but was the boat destroyed by the first missile or the second missile? And when they fired the first of all, you're probably not going to be able to fire a missile at individuals in the water. Usually they're, you're targeting an object. So unless it was laser guided and they knew where the victims were, I don't know the details, but if the second missile was to take out a boat because it was still underway and that also happened to take out survivors, okay, that's different than if they're just firing on survivors.
Right. Okay. No, that is going to be the subject apparently of a hearing, because what Hegseth said yesterday is that he saw the first strike, and then he left the room to go to another meeting, but he trusts the judgment of the man who was in charge, Navy Vice Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley, and Hegseth says Bradley made the right call in sending in that second missile. That's where we are, but it's going to be the subject of a hearing.
They were also trying to destroy as much of the drugs as possible, and there was drugs still floating. So, as Frank said, also too, let me just say this. Any country has the right to eliminate terrorists that are trying to terrorize their country. I could keep going there, but I don't understand if there's a terrorist who's trying to terrorize your country, and you limit it. I don't understand.
It depends on how you define terrorism.
What? Yeah.
And I'm not saying that what President Trump would say in his administration, Pete Hegseth, that we're fighting narco-terrorism.
Right.
And that's not a new word, right, Ed? I mean, that's been used before.
Yeah, it has. Go ahead.
But let me just say this. It becomes a little more ambiguous in my mind. The righteousness of the cause, as opposed to somebody wanting to fire a nuclear weapon at the U.S., maybe, like Iran. Okay. Because the reason I say that, again, I'm just saying it becomes a little bit cloudy in my judgment about, okay, so we're going to use the United States military to go to war with the drug cartels. Okay.
Well, they already came to war to us when they killed when the drugs from those countries killed over 100,000 Americans last year.
Well, and I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know.
That's how the people who would be for firing missiles at boats,
eliminating the drugs.
That's what they would say. Just what you just said. And I don't know. I tend to lean in your direction, but I don't. There's a part of me that's going. We're just boats are skipping across the what? Do we really know for sure that these are?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Let's answer that now. Yes.
Do you have the intel?
Yeah, I'm certain that the Trump administration
you trust
is
them.
not.
Okay,
yes.
You trust them. All right,
Yes.
Go ahead. Anyway, anything more to discuss on this?
Well, I do, but let's let Frank.
Go ahead, Frank.
Since we got him hanging.
I would say, what would be the reason the Trump administration was risking political capital on destroying, say, pleasure boats, not drug boats, coming from Venezuela? It would seem that they really believe that these are boats that are running drugs, and when they hit these things with weapons, the drugs are revealed.
I got you. Again, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not the traditional way we use our military.
No, well, the Coast Guard, yes. And the Navy has been involved in drug interdiction.
The Coast Guard doesn't blow boats out of the water.
No,
well, it can.
It can, but it doesn't. They tell people to stop, or they arrest them, and maybe they get into a gunfight.
Yeah.
But we've never seen these.
But this eliminates the possibility.
Smart bombs.
Yeah, this eliminates the possibility of losing a soldier.
Yeah,
If
the
you were,
Navy for years has been involved in drug interdiction, particularly in the Florida area.
Okay,
it's so less efficient.
Fred, go ahead, Ed. What do you think?
I'm against it. I'm
You're
against
what?
blowing up these boats. And now, listen, this is part of the discussion, and Americans are having this discussion.
And you're weak. You are weak.
To me,
well, he's from Boston.
Boy, you guys just turned nasty all of a sudden. Okay, see, so let me start from the beginning. Okay, drugs are coming to this country because Americans want drugs. Okay, they're not airdropping drugs at schools. I'm not excusing the drug trade. I'm saying it is a criminal act for drug traffickers to provide drugs to Americans who want them or are addicted to them. Okay, so to me, this is a criminal enterprise until they fire on the Coast Guard or until they fire on DEA agents. This is a criminal enterprise, and we should have continued doing what we've always done, and that is arrest the people with the coming into the try to get to the country. This is in international waters. These aren't people landing their boats off the coast of Florida. This is in international waters. Yes, the Trump administration says they have proof these are drug traffickers. Fine, then arrest them. And now, if and I know there are people saying they're killing, and Wesley said 100,000 people a year. Yeah,
that's just the beginning of it.
It's a disaster. But are we going to say any criminal act can be dealt with outside the judicial system with military force?
Go ahead.
That
all presidents who have used drones to take out people who have not yet attacked us.
Well, not if they are part of enemy combatants or terrorist groups who have promised to eliminate America. I mean,
The cartels have promised that they're going to keep bringing drugs here. Is it wrong for the military to use drones to take out
drug lords,
suspected terrorists?
I'm telling you, I understand what Ed said. I'm kind of caught in the middle here. I'm Wesley, what you're saying. Listen, it's different. It's Ed's talking about criminal.
Yeah, it's a criminal enterprise.
Which is a law enforcement.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
We don't use the Marines to enforce our laws. Okay, so when you're talking about taking out boats out in the middle of the
Well, when
Gulf
you,
of Mexico, Gulf of America,
yeah,
and using the military for that reason.
Well, Frank, let me ask you this: human traffickers. They're bringing let's say they're bringing girls into this country.
that's part of this too.
For prostitution. You think we should be able to just shoot them?
If they're crossing the border and illegally, if it's an invasion, there could be a case made for that. Yeah.
No, out in the middle of the Gulf. That's what he's talking about.
Well, I wouldn't say that because you don't want to kill the girls.
Right.
But let's say they're what I'm saying is this is the potential for ever expanding death penalty. Okay?
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So they're coming across. You catch them. They've got a bunch of girls, and you say these your kids? No, we're trafficking. You shoot them.
Well, no.
And I'm saying,
I mean, if you can arrest them, you can. But it's in an apprehension. Force is authorized. Okay, if they're trying to escape, and what if these boats? Suppose they get into U.S. waters, and they ignore warnings, turn back, or you'll be shot, and they keep coming.
That's all different.
Yeah,
that's not
a
what
warning.
we're dealing with here.
They get a warning, and you're going to be arrested.
Yeah.
There's no. Is there a warning on these boats?
Well,
yes, there is a warning. The warning was about 2 months ago. 2 months ago, when the first boat came over and the first boat got shot. That's the warning. You don't come back. You don't come back across over here.
By gosh.
Or you die.
I mean, and they keep coming.
I agree.
That's the warning.
Well, it is a difficult situation, but let's suppose one of these boats is coming loaded with explosives. It's a terrorist boat. Are we obligated to allow them to get to shore?
No.
Or we arrest them?
That is not what I'm talking about.
No.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah.
They're trying to what if you hear to death.
No, what I'm pointing out here is that every country has a right to protect its borders.
Absolutely.
And if there is a threat coming to the border,
100%,
and that threat is repeatedly warned to stop and they don't, you have authorization to use lethal force to
So
stop
you're in favor of us invading Venezuela? Okay. No, listen. That's what I'm saying.
Logic.
I'm trying to use the same logic that I'm hearing. And by the way, I still love everybody. I just want everyone to know. Well, I still love everybody.
I love you too.
I'm Switzerland here. I'm neutral.
But if you're going to say you're bringing bad stuff into our country and it's killing Americans, therefore
go to China,
stop or we're going to kill you, then you have to also include the possibility that we invade Venezuela because that's where the drugs are starting.
No, we don't have to invade Venezuela to stop them from sending stuff here. We can just stop them from sending stuff here.
But you could.
Okay.
Well, you could, but why?
Excuse me, fellas.
Cut the root out.
You ever seen a dog and he has this tail behind him and he turns around and it ain't there, and then he looks around and trying to find his tail, and he flips around again and ain't
but
there.
I'd pay to see that.
We have
There's a word called
we have entered that talk show zone.
Listen, it's called deterrence.
Okay. It is.
Hey, Ed, we still love you, but just remember,
Yeah.
the next time the phone doesn't ring,
Yeah.
it's me.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thank you. All right, Frank, what's coming up this weekend on your show here?
We have the great Katie Faust on, who also has a program on the American Family Radio Network. We're going to talk about us before them. Actually, it's them before us, meaning that as parents, we should put our kids before our own desires, particularly when it comes to marriage. So many parents tragically get divorced, and the kids have to pay the price for that. So we're going to talk about the fact that them before us is how we ought to live our lives, particularly because it also lines up with what the Bible says.
All right, that's coming up Saturday, people, right here on this network. Station you're listening to, or our AFR app. It's called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist with our guest right now, Dr. Frank Turek. So join Frank at 9 o'clock Central Time on Saturday.
And loads of great stuff.
And
on
Sunday
his
afternoons,
podcast.
as you said, at 4 o'clock Central Time, we re-air Frank's show. Thanks, Frank. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See you.
See you. Yes, sir.
Just get one more.
Are you gonna
one more.
No, Wesley's got to get the last word in.
All
That's what I taught him. That's what I raised him to.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
In fact, in all seriousness, I'll make this comment, and then y'all can get the last word in. Okay.
All right.
But I would say there is a case to be made, and there has been cases to be made for United States of America to use military force in other countries, boots on the ground, to take out a terrorist, Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you.
I know. I'm gonna let you finish. Let me just finish, then you go.
Okay, go.
But so when I was just making the only reason I even made that statement is because Ed mentioned about should we then go into another country and blah blah. Well, yeah, I think there's always a case to be made to go boots on the ground to eliminate a terrorist, which I agree with the Trump administration and the White House website about this group being a narco-terrorist group.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, again, it goes back to what we define as terrorist, and really it may be a matter of degrees.
It is.
Yeah, because I would say this: if you're talking about, for example, Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, you're talking about people who make conscious decisions to attack Americans. We have to kill them.
That's part of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
This thing down here are drugs. Drugs aren't personalities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now I know you have people running the drugs, which are the people we're killing when we hit these boats. I will say this: it seems to me like if you want to have a deterrent, it's got to be going through the minds of the drug cartels, even though it's an extremely lucrative business. That is getting people addicted to drugs and potentially killing them, which is evil and demonic and hellish. But if you want to say, okay, sign up to work for the cartels, who wants to get on this boat? This boat's going to Fort Lauderdale. Then you're going to say, well, I know what happened to the last 3 boats that went to, Corpus Christi or New Orleans, or they got blown out of the water. Do I really want to risk my life?
Most of them don't have choices.
A
lot of them don't have a choice. They're going to do it anyways. I think the bigger issue is the drug dealers saying,
what do you mean they don't have a choice?
What I'm saying is the drug dealers usually, if that was the case, I don't think that's the biggest concern for the drug dealers. The biggest concern would be the money lost, not the lives lost.
Oh, yeah, but I'm talking about the guys who get on the boat.
Yeah.
And maybe they're going to be able to start running boats without people on them. That's coming too, probably. They're trying. Anyway.
That was fun.
I will say that. But I will say this: one of the issues that needs to be said here is we all can appreciate President Trump and his administration's desire to stop the flow of drugs that are killing our citizens coming into our country. Can we all
absolutely agree?
Can we all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a scourge.
It is
destroying lives, families, etc.
Yeah.
And I do applaud that.
Amen.
Because the Biden administration sure wasn't.
Right. Hey, let me mention this, and then Fred, we can go into the next news story. Fred, you still with us over there?
I'm still here.
Grinning ear to ear.
My job is just to throw an item out.
Right,
and let
right.
you guys go.
It's called a hand grenade.
like throwing the little food in and watch the fish go after it.
That's right. And I just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just say, on a positive note, on a good feeling note, we have some wonderful historical tours scheduled for 2026. I need to talk to you about going to Boston.
Hey, man, I won't
go to Boston.
Count me in.
All right.
In the springtime.
In September. We're not going in.
There's a song.
Please come to Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please come to Boston. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you there. We are going here are the tours that are available, and then people can go and research them themselves if you want to go with us. We are going to on a trip back in time, if you will. We're going to the historic Triangle in Virginia in June and September. We call it's the Colonial Williamsburg, Historic Jamestown, and Yorktown. We're going on. That's a tour that we do from Sunday to Wednesday, and then we back that up back to back with Wednesday to Sunday with a tour of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and George Washington's estate, Mount Vernon. So we do that if you want to be with us the whole week, we'll take care of you the whole week. All you got to do is show up for these tours, people. If you can get there, get on the bus, and we take care of you wall to wall for 7 days. If you want to do the tours back to back, I've just mentioned, we do that in June. We do that in September. Now you don't have to go on both tours. You can go on one or the other. We have that.
That's an option.
Option too. So those tours are coming up in June and September. I'll be going on that tour. Stephen McDowell will be. Our wives. We just love spending time with our listeners and seeing those sites that I just mentioned. Now, there's also an additional tour coming up in September, right?
It was October last year, but because of the this year, the new date.
It's better weather in September in Boston.
21st to the 26th.
It's not terrible in October, but you're going to have warmer temperatures, more pleasant temperatures in September. So the Boston area tour, which includes going to Plymouth and Rock, and it goes to
Freedom Trail.
The Freedom Trail in Boston and Lexington and Concord. So that whole area, that whole Boston area, the history there is so rich, and we're going there. Wesley and Walker are leading those tours, and I guess Brother Ed here will be going. So that's a tour coming up in September. So if you want, do you want me to say so again? Or have I used up my so's?
Hey, the Boston one, we filled up 2 buses with like 3 months to spare.
Yeah.
So it fills up pretty quick.
These tours I've just mentioned, they do fill up 3 months in advance. So, see, I said so again. Oh, I'm starting to annoy myself. That's bad, isn't it?
Now that's all I'm going to be able to focus on.
So, is hearing me say so?
Yeah.
Glad we don't have people who drink listening to this show.
What's that?
They, take a drink every time Tim says
so.
I get it.
We don't encourage that.
No, we don't. We do not.
Unless it's coffee or, Diet Coke or something like that.
Diet Coke.
I'm not going to say so. Right there, I need to say it. I'm feeling like I need to say it, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Refrain.
So, I did it again. Go to this website I'm about to give you for all the information, the dates, the itinerary, the cost. Everything you need to know is at this website, wildmongroup.com. wildmongroup.com.
Wildman Group.
Yeah, not Wild Man.
Right.
Okay, we changed our name. My grandmother did, like almost 100 years ago. So it's wildmongroup.com. Check it out for all the information there. We got about 2 minutes left. Fred, you got any good news for us? Or
good news for you?
Good news.
Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. Non-controversial.
Oh, awesome.
I missed her.
Yeah, well, here she is. She's talking yesterday to a Jewish group, and she was blaming TikTok for giving American college students bad information about what happened on October 7th, 2023 in Israel. And then we get a response from Lawrence Jones from Fox and Friends. Cut 11.
Smart, well-educated young people from our own country, from around the world, where were they getting their information? They were getting their information from social media, particularly TikTok. That is where they were learning about what happened on October 7th, what happened in the days, weeks, and months to follow. That's a serious...
Anyway, she was blaming TikTok for misinformation on what happened.
We agree with her on this.
And we agree with her on that. But Lawrence Jones came back and just said it wasn't just TikTok, it was the mainstream media,
right.
It was college professors that were polluting the minds of these college students to turn against Israel.
She's pro-Israel.
She is.
She is. She and former President Clinton are, at least they're very fair about this. They're they're very fair. All right, we will be back in 5 minutes with Steve Paisley Jordahl. We'll see you back here then.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
It's been proven again and again and again
Cuthbert Harper.
The verification of the dates, the verification of the genealogies, it puts spiritual iron in my spiritual blood to know that we can depend upon the Word of God.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The deadline to renew Affordable Care Act subsidies is soon approaching, and lawmakers must either extend the subsidies or introduce alternative measures. Grady Trimble tells us more from Capitol Hill.
There are several plans floating around right now, though none of them has consensus just yet. The latest proposal is from Senator Josh Hawley, and he wants to make medical expenses, including health care premiums, tax deductible up to $25,000. President Trump has said he won't support any plan that doesn't simply put money back into Americans' pockets. Another Republican proposal from Senator Bill Cassidy, who, by the way, is a physician, his proposal would provide cash for Obamacare enrollees into their HSAs.
The House Homeland Security Committee holding a hearing to investigate claims that extreme rhetoric is fueling violence against law enforcement. Committee Chair Andrew Garbarino says in his opening remarks that this type of violence represents a brazen disregard for officers and agents.
According to DHS, ICE officers are facing a shocking escalation in threats, including sharp increases in assaults and death threats since immigration enforcement activities began. This dramatic rise underscores the serious risks these officers face in the line of duty.
An FBI intelligence assessment obtained by the New York Point describes the FBI as a, quote, rudderless ship under Director Kash Patel's leadership in a 115-page report. Patel stated that anonymous sources like those contributing to this report always lie.
We re-executed this mission. We defanged the weaponization that corrupted it. We jettisoned those like these anonymous sources in this reporting. And all they have to talk about is anonymous sources and jackets and leather patches. They can have that all day long. The mission of this FBI is to serve the American people, and we are doing it at a level that has never been done before.
Malaysia plans to resume the search for an airliner that vanished over a decade ago.
Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished without a trace in March 2014, carrying 239 people. It remains one of the great aviation mysteries. Now, a company called Ocean Infinity will lead a new search under a no-find, no-fee deal. It'll receive $70 million from the Malaysian government if the wreckage is discovered. An investigation in 2018 found the plane's controls were likely deliberately manipulated to take it off course. Satellite data suggests the Boeing 777 came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
A school district has been given a letter warning that actions toward a religious education program could lead to costly litigation. Chris Woodward has more.
First Liberty Institute sent the letter on behalf of LifeWise Academy. Attorney Jeremy Dice of First Liberty says LifeWise is an organization that's just trying to do some good.
LifeWise is a release-time religious education program doing something that the Supreme Court has approved of since at least 1952, where they pick up students at campus because their parents, the students' parents, have decided they want to provide some religious education in addition to their regular education, too. So LifeWise picks them up at campus, takes them somewhere off campus, gives them a lesson about the Bible, and takes them back to school for the rest of the day.
Some people find this program objectionable, and in Everett, Washington, Dice says that school board members and community members have said some very vile things about LifeWise. According to Dice, a school board member accused LifeWise of indoctrinating kids with fascist theology. A community member at a school board meeting said that LifeWise was like the Nazis driving around Germany and picking up people.
They have some community fairs of organizations that can come and show what kind of program they are, and parents can choose to put them in those programs or not. But LifeWise has been excluded from those because they're religious. They also have flyers that they will distribute for community organizations, but LifeWise has been excluded again because they're religious. So we have sent a letter to the school board there to say it's time to make this stop.
AFN has reached out to the school board for comment. I'm Chris Woodward.
The U.S. stock market is drifting near its record levels following mixed reactions to profit reports from Macy's, Marvell Technologies, and other companies. The S&P 500 edged down 0.1%. The Dow added 85 points, and the NASDAQ Composite slipped 0.3%. More news online at afn.net. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, my name is Andy Miller, and I'm the president of Wesley Biblical Seminary based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We are developing trusted leaders for faithful churches, and we do that based in the authority of Scripture and in the reality that Christians can be transformed. We do that also through bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. We'd love for you to learn more about Wesley Biblical Seminary at wbs.edu, where we're developing trusted leaders for faithful churches.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim with Ed and Wesley, and joining us now is Steve Paisley Jordahl.
Good morning, everybody.
How you doing, Brother Steve?
I am well, thank you. Doing well.
So before we get back into the political and international and all kind of other news we got lined up for this half hour, the most important news right now to a lot of Americans is college football.
Very, very much so, especially
playoffs are coming up.
They are.
But this weekend, before we get to the playoffs, we got a lot of big conference championship games, and you know which one I'm looking forward to watching?
Well, see, they already had the Egg Bowl, so
okay. I live in SEC country.
Yeah.
And I follow SEC football, but I don't really care about Georgia and Alabama because they play every year.
Okay, true.
Right.
Kansas,
sometimes more than once.
And I just say, good for them. Good for them. That's excellence. Good for Alabama. Good for Georgia. I want to watch Indiana and Ohio State.
Yeah.
The Big Ten, the championship game. And I was telling Brother Cole, who runs our video out here, he's an Ohio State guy. He and his dad, Ken, and their family, they came down from Ohio to work here in Mississippi.
Not newly converted. He's always been Ohio.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Buckeye. They're Buckeye all the way.
Yeah.
They're Buckeyes. Who wouldn't be? Hey, you win every game.
That's right.
Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? No, but they came here from Ohio. But I want to watch Indiana and Ohio. But I told him this. I said, you know what? It's the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the world. Because unless you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan, everybody else is rooting for Indiana. Because why? Because Indiana's that great American underdog story.
Same thing with Alabama when they were winning national championships. Everybody, except for Alabama fans,
pulled against whoever was playing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way human nature is.
Yes, it is.
And unless you're the king of the hill, which
we say we root for excellence in America,
right, no.
But not when it comes to sports.
Right. So anyway, Ohio State's number one. Indiana's number two.
Yep.
Indiana, as Ed said, has never won anything since Hoosiers.
Since the movie Hoosiers.
Since the movie Hoosiers. Indiana, we didn't even know Indiana played football.
Well, they were pretty good, and not football, but basketball.
Basketball, yeah.
Larry Bird
but football, no. Indiana's never done squat in football, and I say that as a Mississippi State fan. I know what squat. I know what squat is.
You're a squat expert.
And when somebody does it.
So, in our state, the Ole Miss fans are really getting pumped up because they're going to make the playoffs too. That's coming up. Playoffs start. Did they start 2 weeks, 3 weeks? When do they start, Wesley? Do you know? College football playoffs. This weekend is all the conference championship games, and then the playoffs start sometime.
Yeah, they start December the 19th.
Okay, the 19th, and they'll.
So it'll basically after the conference championships this weekend. It's like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Right? Is that right?
1 weekend off, 2 weeks of,
And then they start playing every weekend until they get to the championship game in January. So anyway, what you looking at, Steve?
I'm looking at the difference. There was a dispute, not a really. We didn't land blows, but Ed and I were looking at two different lists of college football lists, and he is looking at the AP Top 25, which is what most people look at. I have in front of me the CFP rankings, which are the college football playoff rankings, which determines the seeding in the playoff.
They had the committee that announced them last night, right?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And they're a little different. They're a lot the same, actually, mostly the same. Ohio State and Indiana are the same. Georgia's number 3. Texas Tech is number 4. They agree in that. Oregon number 5. Ole Miss number 6. 7, they're the same. 8.
Texas A&M is 7. Right?
Yeah. Let me get the top 25. There it is.
Oklahoma.
Because then there's the coaches poll. 7, 8. Oh, yeah. So Oklahoma. So it's the same at the top. So yeah, you got to. Oregon is number 4. Yeah, there's little moderate differences, but not big.
What'll be interesting to see is if Alabama loses to Georgia, if they get booted out of the playoffs, because you're not supposed to lose your position if you are playing in a championship game. But
right.
But who knows? Because that would
they are number 9 in the CPF rankings.
Yeah,
CFP rankings, I should say.
All right, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah,
and you're listening to Today's Issues. What's your first story, Steve?
Speaking of colleges, we have the latest college out of many to decide that they're going to take seriously President Trump's mandate that they get rid of all their gender nonsense and the pronouns and the DEI stuff. Texas Tech campuses have announced that their Chancellor Brandon Creighton has announced that there are new restrictions on how college professors may teach DEI or the differences on sexual orientation in classrooms. They may not promote, according to Brandon Creighton at the Texas Tech University system, the idea that one sex or race is inherently superior to another. They may not promote an individual by virtue of their race or sex is inherently racist or sexist, and on. All the DEI stuff, they cannot promote it. They can teach it as one of many beliefs or this is what's out there, but they can't say now that because you're white, you're automatically racist.
Right, we're seeing a trend since day one of Trump and his team entering the White House for his second term, a trend in the removal of DEI practice amongst corporate world and also college campuses. Because I saw this morning, there's roughly 400 college campuses across the country who have either eliminated DEI from their program, or they've rebranded it to be more inclusive for everyone. And so the reason I thought this was a good story is because when you think that a lot of the times when the enemy takes ground, you may neutralize it, but it's hard to gain it back.
Right.
And when we see the idea of elections having consequences, and because of the leadership of the Trump administration on this issue, by forcing the hands, in some cases forcing the hands of these college campuses to remove DEI, I wanted to make sure that we recognize that there are good things happening. Now, Trump's not the only one. Now this is a little bit of a leap, but there are a lot of people across it. This is a little bit of a leap as far as the direct results of why this happened. However, there have been a lot of Christians and a lot of conservatives obviously concerned and fighting back on this issue, and they spent a lot of time trying to make the case that this is the opposite of its definition. It's the opposite of diversity, inclusion, and
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And so we've spent many years fighting against this problem. And when we start making this much effort, I wanted to, say, hey, if you ever felt like you were fighting and you weren't making any ground, remember Galatians chapter 6 that says, "Don't grow weary in doing good, because if you continue on, and you'll reap if you don't give up." And that's here we are covering some ground.
Let me ask you this, Ed, related to this. When we say DEI, what we mean is it's called diversity, equity, and inclusion. This started gaining popularity really big 5-10 years ago on college campuses in the corporate world. What exactly is our objection to what DEI promotes? Because it sounds wonderful. Who's against diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah. Well, it really, Wesley's point is the main one I'm going to make is that it's not actually diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, a lot of people, and I think rightly so, object to the word equity, which is equality of outcome. Okay, that's different from we've always talked about equality of opportunity, where we've said everyone should have the same opportunity to succeed.
Right.
And you can't discriminate against black people, for example, and say, well, you're just black person, you're just as qualified as this white person, but you know what? We don't hire black people. Okay, that is a denial of equality. That is antithetical to the ideas of our Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Equity says everybody must have the same outcome, and we're going to guarantee that regardless of how hard you work or regardless of what your grades are, et cetera, et cetera. So equity and equality are kind of at loggerheads, but the point that Wesley made is that when people say we're for diversity, what they really mean is we are against white people. White people are racist, so we are going to remove white people and give minorities the opportunities that white people used to have.
You mean like what happened in commercials?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of part of it. You're talking about advertisements,
TV commercials.
Yeah,
they ban white people and straight people.
Yeah, well, so it's DEI operates on the assumption that white people have privilege, and because of that privilege, that's why they're successful. And therefore, in order for minorities to be successful, we've got to remove the privileges that white people have and give those privileges to minorities.
It's actually reverse racism.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yes.
Because they're classifying these people on the left, look at the white race and say it's by definition racist itself. It's fascist. It's colonialism. It's
all those things,
all those bad things.
Buzzwords.
Which some of it is true in history, but guess what? White people didn't invent slavery.
Right.
You know what? In Africa, they're still doing it today. One tribe enslaves another. In Arab countries, they don't care. You know, they're at war. The Sunnis and the Shia, the Persians and the. So I mean. White people did not invent slavery, okay?
And they didn't invent, they didn't invent privilege either.
No, and guess what? Guess what? Before the Europeans came to the United States of, what was then the New World.
Yeah.
Wasn't called the United States of America then. It was British. And set up colonies and began to move into what we call North America. Guess what? The Indians, the Native Americans, they didn't live in peace.
Right.
They killed each other over what?
Land.
Over land. And they warred and they warred. And so people on the planet Earth have been killing each other and warring over land and property and riches since the dawn of time. All right? And sometimes it's racial, sometimes it's ethnic. A lot of times, like in Africa, I mentioned, and the Native Americans, it's just tribal. Mm-hmm. It's the Sioux versus the Cherokee. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so that had nothing. So I'm just saying that. Guess what? That all goes back to the heart of a man,
right,
or a woman, which God says in the Bible is sinful. How do you overcome that? How do you learn to love people and treat people fairly and with respect who aren't like you? Well, you follow the model of Jesus Christ. That's what you do.
And the words of Scripture.
First and foremost. So does that am I making sense?
Yeah. You do need to point out this, though. While it is true that America did not invent slavery, it did end slavery.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the people who fought to end slavery in America were a lot of white.
Mostly white. And
Northerners, soldiers in the Union Army. Now, I don't want to get too much into this. A lot of the Southerners who fought in the Civil War, they didn't know too much about. They weren't necessarily in favor of slavery.
Right.
They just knew they were being invaded by people from another part of the country. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of that. Steve, next story.
All right. There are two immigration stories that are in the news right now, and they're coming closer to home for Christians and evangelicals. I'm talking about the stuff that's going on in Minnesota, the Somali community, and all of the fraud that's going on there. And then there's the issue of the National Guard shooting and how did we vet the Afghan people we brought over from Afghanistan after the war. And let me start with the Afghan issue because Megan Basham is out there, and she is saying that World Relief, which is the National Association of Evangelicals immigration arm, may be complicit in some of this. Listen to cut 14.
So we talked also last time about the National Association of Evangelicals. It's the largest association of evangelical churches in the world. Their immigration arm is World Relief. They have taken something like $330 million from the federal government since 2021 to resettle, quote unquote, refugees. In 2021, they took $56 million to resettle refugees, including those from Afghanistan, including the shooter of those 2 National Guards people. So the day before that shooting, President Trump announced that there would be additional vetting. So he announced a while ago there would be additional vetting of the Afghani refugees. The day before that, World Relief issued a statement condemning that decision. And in fact, their VP, Matthew Sorens, who is heavily active in evangelical churches, you will see him often on the weekends giving presentations. They send materials out to churches saying you must welcome the stranger. He called it a needless re-traumatizing of the Afghani refugees. The very next day, the Afghan terrorist killed 2 National Guardsmen. So that's how this empathy debate is working within the church.
You know, it's interesting. I know I'm getting inside baseball here when I'm talking about the topic of the history of churches, but in the U.S. But, 100 years ago, there was something like, I may not have my years right, so don't hold me to this. There was something called the National Council of Churches.
Yep.
All right. That was really, I think that's what it was called. That was really an association of mainstream, at that time, large denominations in America that came together for unified purposes. They became so liberal that an organization was founded to as an alternative called the National Association of Evangelicals. We here at American Family Association, my dad, we've been in existence almost 50 years, but we used to work really close with the National Association of Evangelicals. And they were a organization that was conservative and true to the Bible, and a lot of great denominations and pastors and people were part of the National Association of Evangelicals. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what she's talking about right there, who were we listening to?
Megan Basham.
Okay, Megan is talking about how the National Association of Evangelicals has shifted more to the left.
They have.
So I don't know what we're going to form now to
combat that
as a new alternative, but that's interesting and ironic that she would be mentioning that the National Evangelicals. She said that they'd taken in how much money, like $300 million or something like that.
Yeah, I don't.
To resettle Afghan or Somali or
no,
and not
Afghan.
just that.
The Somalis, the Somalis are different. If I could just let me do this, and then I'll let you guys go for whichever one. You know, there's this whole allegation of fraud within the Somali community. In fact, we can play Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security.
I think these are charges. These are more than just, they are
Homeland
allegations.
Secretary Kristi Noem says that she calls Tim Walz an idiot, and that half of the Somali visas are fraudulent. Well, those fraudulent visas may have had a hand from Lutheran Social Services. And this is a young influencer, conservative guy named Jeff Baugh, who's done the research. Cut 15.
Why are Somalians in America? Especially North Dakota and Minnesota. So I looked into it. The main group bringing in Somalians is Lutheran Social Services. And turns out they get $2,375 for every Somalian they bring over.
From the federal government, probably.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is a very good story, Steve. So the United States, since 2020, with the election of Joe Biden, the United States was not only being inundated by illegal immigrants, okay, coming across basically an open border on the south. But we were also being inundated by quote-unquote legal immigrants who had visas and who, under the auspices of the Biden administration's encouragement, groups like the ones you're mentioning being paid to bring as many people as they could over. So
and incentivized financially.
If you're an organization, you're being paid by the Biden administration $2,000 plus per Somalian. You're going to make sure you get as many Somalians into this country as possible because you make money.
This is what the common theme here is: people who go under the banner of Christianity are subverting our country in many ways. That's what Basham. If indeed you've got, he mentioned that fellow right there mentioned the Lutheran
Social Services.
Okay, and then I know another group that's notorious for this kind of left wing aiding and abetting people coming here illegally is the Catholic Charities.
Charities also get money.
Yep. You see, so what you're saying is these charities. What you're saying, Steve, these charities are being financially incentivized to bring people to the United States, and for everyone they can get over here and quote settled, then they make money off of it, right? Or they get a donation from some federal government.
Either a block donation of millions of dollars, as in the World Relief. Well, World Relief, they didn't break it down per person. They were paid a bunch of money to bring to help people get over, and then they spent whatever they spent.
Now, you're not saying, and Megan Basham's not saying, I don't think, that the fraudulent visas, half of these for the Somalians, is someone saying those were provided by these Christian organizations? Nobody knows how they got their fraudulent visas.
Well,
how does this work?
Let me see. According to our Christy Nome, who I got to make sure I get her correct. Homeland Secretary Christy Nome. Listen to what this was during a cabinet meeting yesterday with President Trump. Cut 13.
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions.
By the way, just let me say before we get calls and emails, I was not calling her Barbie. Christy Nome,
right. Yeah.
the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Good call.
I was merely saying that's what the left-wing media refers her all the time.
You're being sarcastic.
I was being sarcastic, but I didn't get a chance to finish my sarcasm.
Yes.
Which will lead people to believe that I'm calling her Barbie, which is disrespectful, which we get emails and phone calls for.
Yeah.
So I'm saving us a lot of trouble here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By going on.
You're saving yourself
a
lot of
because
trouble.
we were going to forward you the emails. So
Yeah,
you can
I know, and I don't need them because then I have to type them back and say I wasn't calling her Barbie. I was saying other people.
You know what? Can I just say one quick thing about the Barbie thing?
Yeah.
And then we can, whatever we can cram in here, we can. The left is always saying you shouldn't objectify women.
Yes, they are.
They're not just, women aren't just another pretty face. They're intelligent, whatever.
Right.
And they completely showed themselves to be hypocrites by calling Christy Nome, who by any, average, she's a very pretty lady.
Right.
Okay? So they call her Barbie.
Right.
They objectify her and treat her as if she doesn't have a
the
brain
very
in her
people who
head.
say we shouldn't objectify women. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Thanks to Wesley. Wesley, thank you for your contributions.
You're welcome.
Your contributions really, you blew it out of the water. I don't know what else to
I
say.
agree.
Don't you agree?
He blew
I
it.
don't think he quite blew it all out of the water. I'm sending in a second strike just to make sure he gets it all.
Oh, man.
Okay.
You guys.
Listen, I kept my word. I'll let y'all have the last word on that issue.
Okay. My thanks to Ed, Steve, and Fred Jackson, Frank Turek, Brent Creeley, Cole Green, and for our left
Go Indiana.
and whoever made the popcorn.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. A vacation with a purpose. That's what